Yeah, yeah. Okay. Everyone's.
Good to go, George.
Thank you. Welcome everybody for tonight, February council meeting. I'd like to ask Councillor Edwards, please, to read.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Acknowledgement to country, Councillor Kidd.
Leeton Shire Council acknowledges the Wiradjuri people and their continued impact on our community. We acknowledge their connection to the land, water and sky. We acknowledge all Aboriginal people who have made Leeton Shire their home, and as such, pay our respects to all Aboriginal elders, past, present and emerging of our Shire.
Thank you. Thank you. Apologies, an application for leave absent by councillors. I do believe I got a message from Councillor Morris. She's running late, and someone please come back door. I hear noise.
No, not yet. No.
And Councillor.
I suspect Councillor Nardi will also be an apology for lateness, Mr. Mayor. We haven't heard that she's an apology, so she should be here shortly.
All right, thank you very much. I need to move in a second there. That is by Councillor Edwards, second by Councillor Mason. Thank you very much, councillors. Confirmation of the minutes there and any matters arising. Recommendation: the minutes of the ordinary meeting will be held on Tuesday, 7th December. Can we move in a second of that, please? Move Councillor Kidd, second by Councillor Tyne. Right, good. Any matters arising from that? No. Procedural motion. The council accepts item 8.23 2024 budget review, quarterly ending the 31st of December. I have a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Councillor Tyne, Councillor Edwards. Thank you very much. Any discussion on that?
I was happy to see one curve above expectation. Yeah, the curve is in yesterday for the water one, but that was nice.
Good.
So this is just received, allowing the report to be tabled. It'll be discussed later.
All right, good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We only a movement second for that, which I have got that. Disclosure of interest. If anybody have disclosure of interest. An idea entered in the chambers? No? All right, good. We'll move on then to Mirror Minute. Mirror Minute is a request for University of South Australia, page 4. Thank you. Can we move in a second there or discussion?
You've moved it.
Thank you.
I'm happy to second it.
Right, yeah. There is a sort of recommendation in that. It's open for discussion if anybody wants to discuss that.
There on, if I may,
Yeah.
I'm happy to support the hinted at recommendation. And I think the figure of $6,000 is affordable and a reasonable amount. Also, we are very short on resources. But what is important about this is in the preamble, of course, that, and I've had a little bit to do with this in my time as Deputy Mayor and on Council, we have been recognised as a very progressive community with regard to immigration and providing a welcoming space for migrants, refugees, and the like. But it is also just our whole economy, our whole town is founded on migrants. We're a young town. We've seen different waves of migrants. We've had Welsh migrants. We've had people coming out of Broken Hill when the mines went badly in the early part of the century. We've had our Italian migrants, mainly post-war, but certainly some before the war, and we're in a different phase of migration these days. We are dependent on migration to drive our jobs, drive our economy, and provide the prosperity that we seek for our community. Also, being actively involved in the space also helps to promote community cohesion, which is something we're seeing in this country at the moment that is just staggering a little bit. And it's very important. I think the council's active in that. And I certainly support council participating and supporting with a letter of support and also $6,000 towards this request from the University of South Australia.
The council, on page 10, an option for council to consider, you're saying point 1, approval funding for project up to 6,000 in cash and provide a letter of support.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor.
Any discussion on that? Discussion?
I'm just wondering, this is more of a question, will the $6,000 be contingent on sorry, I'm trying to think of my words here,
Sure.
like a summary of what that money is actually being spent on instead of a gift in kind, or is it a is it a contribution where you don't have a say on actually going?
Quitted, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Something similar to that?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the investment is going towards the research project outlined in the Mayoral Minute.
Yeah.
And we would get a full copy of the report, and that would be that would show how our money's been spent.
It's all good, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I just think that it's a really good value for us. We could never conduct such research for that amount of money, so be happy that it's happening. And I hope we can do more collaborations with universities in the future,
Thanks very much.
maybe around transport.
Okay. All right, if there's no more discussion, that was the recommendation. All in favour? All right, those against? Thank you very much, councillors. Very worthwhile. Thank you very much for the support. Moving on to general managers matters. Delivery of the programme 6-monthly progress. There's a recommendation there. We have a move in a second now. Moved by Councillor Kidd, second by Councillor Tynan. Any discussion, any questions on that? Question, Councillor Kidd.
I love green lights. It's all looking very, very good. Congratulations to all concerned in the process of delivering those green lights. That's wonderful.
Councillor Thomas.
I just have a few observations, comments about some things in here. On page 33, I learned recently that khaki, well, not this weed, but there's still efforts being made to eradicate it.
Questions?
Curious about that. On page 30.
Councillor Tynan, do you want those questions answered as we go?
No, it's just like, just on notice, because I've just had a discussion about the weed. So if I could just get information about how it's if it's noxious weed, should it be on this list? Or should the council not be worrying about that weed and focusing more on other ones?
Through Mr. Mayor, I can answer that question. The item on page 33 relates to nuisance weeds in towns.
Okay.
These are the weeds that are managed by Parks and Gardens in you know, around streets and parks and whatnot. The noxious weeds are reported, I think, in the sustainability section of the report, which is, comes a bit later on. I'll find it and draw your attention, but you're absolutely right. This item is not about noxious weeds, it's about nuisance weeds. Yeah.
Page 44, oh no, I move on to page 64, and that mentions about the number of trees planted. Let's get to page 64. Ten new trees were planted in this reporting period. I found that a rather low target. Can anything be done to improve that number? The general manager.
Back through, Mr. Mayor. Certainly, councillor, later on in the report, you'll also notice that one of the things that council has committed to doing is doing a tree planting strategy. And I'm hoping that that strategy will see hundreds of trees planted per annum rather than a small amount of 10. So going forwards, and this council at its strategic planning meeting reiterated the need for looking at strategies to cool the towns
Green canopies.
and also bring down carbon footprint and whatnot. So that'll be a great emphasis in your delivery program for you to deliberate on. Yep.
If I may comment there, Mr. Mayor, tree planting strategies are also dependent on the time of year. And so we do tend to plant when it's advantageous to the trees. And that's one of the reasons we don't plant on, say, National Tree Day like a lot of councils do, because it would just not work here and get high losses of trees. So you will find those numbers do fluctuate. The actual figure, I think, is 200 a year.
It'd be great to have a community event painting the trees. It'd be a good idea. Count the time, but excellent. You okay?
Through the meeting, GM, on page 75, there's a duplication. You might have been made aware of that.
Typo?
It's purpose funding for Leeton indoor stadium amenity upgrades. There's a duplication there, which just made me ask, well, is it being done twice? That's just something to note.
Yes, thank you.
On page 76, there was a strange thing. It's page 76. Funding for the Roxy. It's the second last thing. It says that project value 7.83 million formerly for Advanced Estate project. I was just a bit confused about what that was describing. Advanced Estate project being mixed up in something to describe the Roxy Theatre, that's all.
Yes, sorry, that is a bit of history that would have been better if it was removed to not add confusion. We were originally chasing the $1 million for Vance Estate, but the funder came back to us to say it was ineligible. So that's why we redirected our efforts towards getting 1 million into the Roxy. And that was an eligible project. So I think the formally for Vance Estate is just to let councillors know that this was the same 1 million that was formally going to go to Vance Estate. But for the sake of this report, that Vance Estate reference is best taken out. So for our copy that goes online, we might just remove that because it causes confusion. Yeah.
Was that okay? Councillor? Yep. Good. Okay. Any more you want to bring up? No. I had a move in a seconder and I asked for any questions. Any more questions? If not, I'd like to put the motion. All in favour? Those against? Thank you very much. Right, we're moving on to Leeton Shire Community Strategy Plan, or DSP. Recommendation is in front of you that the council adopts the Community Strategy Plan, Leeton on the goal towards 2035. Do I have a move and a seconder of that recommendation? Movement by Councillor Wright, second by Councillor Keating. Any discussion? No discussion or
I'm sorry, just,
page 80?
1, 2.
yeah,
Okay.
80, yep.
Yeah, and then we've got the rest to go with that, of course. Right. So we're going to move in a seconder and no discussion. Any questions?
Right, I think, Mr. Mayor, we had a good discussion in our briefing
Yeah.
prior to that. I think everyone seems to be on the same page. I think we're moving forward quite well.
No, that's really great. Very good. All right then, well, all in favour? Aye, those against? Carried, thank you. Moving on, and it's page 238, I think you're fine. I'll give everybody time to get to 238.
Mr. Mayor, can we,
Oh,
Done something?
if I may, can we combine 8.21 and 8.22?
The 2 investment.
Oh, the two
reports.
investments, yeah, yeah, I'd like to do, everybody in favour of what we're doing is combine the two together, right, and move them together, we can still discuss them, still do that. To 238, just give me time to get to 238. 238. But can I have a movement seconder for both those 8.2.1, Councillor Nardi, second by Councillor Keith. Right, any comment on that? No? All those in favour?
Rates are very good, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Good to see.
All in favour? Hands please, thank you. Those against? Thank you very much. Just put some line through here. Right, now we move on to, it says the separate report. That was a separate report. You might come across holes. So do you want to have time to get onto that particular part of the iPad that you've got in front of you?
it is item 8.2.
Yes, it's the
Sorry.
budget review.
8.2.3, I think in the original one it had hold,
Oh, yeah.
hold member. And then you might have to go to the documents and bring up the documents on the left-hand side. So if
It's
you've
the
got,
late report, yeah.
Can you give the page number, please?
the page number is, it's a separate report.
Oh,
Right, so you go into your documents, you go into your documents,
Yeah.
right,
At home.
top left-hand corner. And you've got the agenda February 2025. Below that, we've got item,
2025 ordinary council meeting.
are we all with me?
Why?
Yeah, under that. And
again?
I'll just wait to make sure everybody's.
yeah,
Councillor Kidd, Councillor
Stephen,
Stephen, you okay?
sure how to do it.
Attachment.
I did that.
We're just waiting for everybody to catch up on the page. Oh, mate, no problems.
My iPad. Yeah, I'll just, if you don't mind.
Right, now the recommendation is in front of you there, that council reviews and considers the quarterly budget review as for the 31st of December 2024 and approves the changes as recommendation by management. Can I have a move in a second for that? Moved by Councillor Edwards, second by Councillor Kidd. Any questions or discussions on that? I take it you've got the page.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I actually had problems with my iPad this week and I've lost all of my notes twice over because I went back and redid them again when I lost them the first time. But I have half a note here that managed to save.
Give us the half and try and get the other half.
Try and remember what I wrote. So on page 17, capital budget review.
Mhm.
There was just a carryover of, I'm assuming, wages in the Parks, Gardens and Recreation.
You'd like to ask a question on that?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll refer you to,
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to pass on to Manager Finance.
Manager of Finance, thank you.
If you're happy, it was on the line item where the original budget was 755,000 and there was an approved carryover of 116,882. Can you let me know what the increase was for? Was it just in wages?
Which one, councillor?
Sorry,
The fourth one down on page 17.
Mhm.
in the Parks, Gardens and Recreations.
And
Okay.
capital, it wouldn't be pages.
Yeah, so
116,882.
Just 2 seconds, I've got, the director. Yes. Go ahead, manager.
okay, so what happened, we had a road recovery grant,
Yep.
which was 5.5 million.
Right.
And this grant, when we did the original budget, we budgeted for, we'd spread it across over 5 years.
Yes.
So it was going to be 1.1 million.
Yep.
And then we discovered that when the communication came, it was for actually 853,000.
So we had a shortfall.
Yes, so the difference is the capital budget are coming out as a result of that, because CapEx was supposed to be funded from road to recovery.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I just thought it was a bit of an odd figure and I thought,
Okay.
thank you for that.
Thank you, councillor. Now, any other questions of the manager or the director of the report? If not, I had a move in a seconder, all in favour? Aye, and those against, great, carried, thank you. I'll give you time to get back to the main, have to change your iPad and go back to the agenda. Page is 265. And I'll give you time to get there, 265.
Sorry, I did have one more on there if you don't mind me going back. Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I'm just going through whatever notes I had.
All right.
It's too late for me to go back.
I think I can if it's not too involved. Just a question. Yes,
Sorry, I just have one more.
Yeah.
Just on page in the general fund in the operating result, we had a rental income. Is that from all of our properties that we lease to anyone throughout the whole of council? That was the first question I had.
That's correct.
Yes, and when was the last time that are they just like regular increase via like say percentages every year? Do they?
CPI,
increase
maybe like that.
CPI? Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I can answer.
You go.
Director.
So, it's a mixture of CPI increase as well as the valuations that we do. So that's how we judge price to charge every year.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just noticed that the original budget was, yeah, I thought it might have felt like it hadn't increased in a while. And then looking at the actual year to date as well, thought that was a little bit low. That was another question we had.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the rental figures are set figures.
Yeah.
So the original budget would have been the budget set for the year, and generally we can't increase a rental during the course of a contracted period. So I suspect that's why that's
A little bit low.
yes, and you'll see the 144,000 is almost half of the budgeted income that's come in. So
Yeah.
we're looking good.
That's what I thought. Thank you. I'll just double check. Sorry, Mr. Mayor, give me a moment.
Right.
This was the only document that actually saved my notes.
Yeah, it's okay, because I haven't actually, haven't moved on to the next one, right? So you're lucky.
And then I noticed on page 12, in the recommended budget changes, one of the notes I had was on the general fund on number 1, Wattle Road, boundary road to the Marramai Township. Completed the project at a certain price and against the original budget of 150,000. So we had a carryover of 19,497. My question.
Your question.
Yep, sorry, my question was that budget had in previous years when we had set it, is there like, because I know that we've been trying to stick to budget, obviously the reason we went over is 19,000. Is it due to, do we have issues with the road? And just sort of like, I know that we're very conscious about making sure that we don't overdo any of our projects, especially like as something as small as that. Just making sure, because it then happened on Marramai Road again with Draper Road, which well.
I think I can answer that one. Through you, Mr.
Oh, sorry, manager. Sorry.
So the reason for the increase of 19,000 is because of the selling cost, the increase like bitumen cost for the reselling of the roads.
On both of those it was, yeah, because you sell Draper Road.
No, no. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
I know there's at one end,
Double check in.
but the other.
All right, you found all your notes?
It's the only one that saves 22 documents.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. I'm
All
done.
right, if you're happy, I might move on to the next one. Next one's item 8.2.4. I'll give you time to hop out of that particular attachment to go back into the main body. It's on page 265 and it's in regard to the policy reviews. Everybody get there first or before I go further? Right, I'll take where I got there, that's good. The recommendation is in front of you that council endorses the following draft policy for public exposition for 28 days. And if no substantial feedback is received, the policy will be considered as adopted. So I have a move and a second for that. Councillor Kidd, Councillor Edwards. Any discussions on that? Councillor Wright.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I had a question about the councillor and staff interaction policy.
Mhm.
It does mention, overall, I'm very happy with it. I think it provides structure. And personally, I've felt these last few months a bit uncertain of whether I was doing the right thing or not. And I think that having more people than just Jackie to go through is more practical, but there are also boundaries around that which are very well thought through. I just have one question about on page 289 of the PDF. Point B. Councillors approaching council staff and council staff organisations. What are council staff organisations?
For the domain, can you answer that question?
Can I refer to you? I mean, the types of organisations that we have would be like local government professionals,
Committees. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's more government bodies. Excuse me, I'm losing
Yeah.
my voice.
So not the United Services Union.
yes, it would be those kind of things.
It's just that I'm just concerned about compliance and the fact that if I'm a unionist and I'm involved in the union movement and I frequently communicate with from different unions about various activities, including consulting them as part of our constituency on to inform me as a councillor on how I might go about my duties, where things affect them, for example. So if I'm not allowed to approach them, I don't know. It has some conditions, but I'm just not sure.
Through you, Mr Mayor, it's with regards to more operational of council staff and the individuals when you're consulting the union councillor, right?
So that wouldn't be, you're just worried, you're just saying, don't ask them about a industrial relations dispute relating to an individual person. But if it was, as you say here, a restructure or something, that's okay.
So it's regards to matters relating to the broader workforce policy, but not limited restructures or outsourcing decisions, grievances, workplace investigation, disciplinary matters on that one with regards to council staff.
Answer the question for
Individual or operational staff matters.
Yeah.
Yes, so just to clarify then, so if you were talking to those bodies at a higher level around workforce in general, workforce policy matters in general, then that would be fine. But if
For the council.
for the council, but if you were wanting to discuss anything to do with individual staff,
Yep.
like if there was a dispute happening and it wouldn't be appropriate to contact the union to say, can you tell me about
Of course, yeah. And what does,
whatever, but, or if there's grievances happening, that wouldn't be appropriate, any workplace investigations or disciplinary matters. But certainly you can speak to those organisations about
the collective,
yes, stuff that would be generally available to any councillor to discuss with any kind of organisation.
okay, no, thank you. I just wanted to clarify that.
Sure. These are policies which get renewed all the time and they normally come from office of local government. We do a few tweaks to it locally. But they don't substantially change too much from year to year, but we are advised to keep on revising them in a certain amount of period. I think it's every 2 years.
Mr Mayor, if I may just add for councillor Wright's maybe confusion. I'll see how you feel when I say this. Councillors can actually belong to the United Services Union, and not many do, but they can actually be members of the USU. I don't know if that's muddied the waters or not.
No, I think it's actually a really good suggestion. Thank you.
Right, I had a move and a seconder. It was moved by councillor Kidd.
Sorry, I have more questions about more policies.
Yeah, all right.
This
Sure.
recommendation covers several policies.
Yes, right, yeah.
Yep. In the policy of councillor expenses and facilities, I beg your pardon. No. What am I looking at? No,
Is that the price of a coffee, is it?
no, no, I've lost myself. I'm drowning in PDF. No, I don't have any more questions for this recommendation. I beg your pardon.
Thank you. All right, so I had a move and a second, moved by councillor Kidd, second by councillor Edwards. All in favour? All right, goes against. Thank you very much. Now we move on to 8.25, which is on page 339. Endorsement of CC and understanding code of practice and standard. We've got a recommendation in front of us here.
I'll move that, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Kidd, second by councillor Nardi. Right, and any discussion on that?
Mr Mayor, right,
I'm not 100% sure.
leave an amendment. to the-
Yes, you can mention that you've got describe the amendment you're doing, right? And we'll see if we can be added to it.
Do I need to explain a little bit that one?
Let's explain it, yeah.
Mr Mayor, I would like to move an amendment to the motion that the words endorses and adopts be deleted from the recommendation, and that the word notes being inserted to replace the deleted words. And that point 3 is deleted and replaced by a new point 3, that council requests the general manager to convene a meeting between New South Wales Police and council to discuss in depth what is proposed. I move this amendment as I feel that this council has received insufficient time to understand what the actual implications are of such policies on individual freedom, data and privacy. So yes, that's why I'm.
All right, you're moving an amendment, and do I have a seconder for your amendment? Councillor Tynan. All right, we're going to debate the amendment. Army on the wall there up high should be the amendment typed out. Time to adjust that. Oh, actually, I should also that's an amendment. So I should ask the motion if that could be added to the motion. Or ask the original move and seconder of the recommendation. Is that okay to add to that?
I just want to see it in writing before I know what I'm.
Agreeing to.
Yeah, sorry, you can spoke so fast, I couldn't get it all. I just like to.
And how do you move to the second?
So just changing the first 1 and 2, is that right, councillor Edwards, to notes?
Yeah, and the third one to delete and the meeting between councillors
Police and council.
and other relevant parties.
And what was the reason why you wanted to arrange a meeting? Is that just so you could discuss?
Well, I feel that I've received insufficient time to understand what's actually been asked, and I'm very concerned about the implications of adopting such policies without actually having my understanding. And Section 232 of the Local Government Act states that all councillors need to be very considerate and very informed about all decisions made. So that's why I feel that at this meeting that we should remove this amendment, and we can definitely bring it up again at the next meeting, and after I feel more adequate.
All right, everyone understands the amendment that we're going to debate. I've had someone talk to the amendment. You'll be able to do a right reply at the end. Is anybody against the, first of all, I've got to ask the original move and seconder of the motion. Do you want that, okay, to add that to your original? If not, we'll.
Mr. Mayor, I'm uncomfortable with this in that one, it only notes, I mean, it doesn't really go past what we're going to.
But Councillor Kidd, if you feel that you don't want to amend your.
I need to ask a question or two here too.
Okay, yep.
My recollection is we've had these memorandums of understanding with the police in the past.
First time,
First time.
yeah, now, first time. Up until now, the police, when they require CCTV footage, they come in, ask the staff to look at something a certain time, and then we spend our time looking for it. So the memorandum of understanding now allows the police to go and investigate the footage themselves on their time and find what they're looking for. So it's the first time we've introduced it as an efficiency saving mechanism.
Yeah, well, I was working on the understanding that we have had this, we've been practicing this for some time, and that it was commonplace. And that's why I really wasn't see the point in dragging that out.
Do we still own the data? So.
Through you, Mr. Mick, if we've got Jared Sims,
Yeah,
the manager of IT. So Jared, if you could come forward and answer the questions,
So-
that would be good.
So at the moment, we get clarification. I've got to find out if we're going to add the amendment to the original motion.
Oh,
Could we just make some discussions before we agree on the amendment?
Well, I might, the move and the second was moved by councillor, seconded by you. All right. You want some clarification, right?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Very Mr. Yes, we still have data. So the police, the data sits on our servers. The police are retrieving the data from our servers.
And through you, Mr. Mayor, am I correct in understanding that your amendment you want to be really clear about the freedom of privacy, the issues, because we're responsible.
Yeah.
We don't want to hand everything over to the police.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And just understand the implications. I'm not necessarily against the proposed. I want to make sure that I'm actually making an informed decision.
And before we had an MOU, the police had to come to us and say, something happened in Wandoo.
I need a
You
CCTV.
look at the footage. Yeah.
Really, Mr. Mayor, that's correct. So before we've had this amendment, I've had to spend my valuable time going through and
Finding for
finding
them.
footage for them. Exporting to the CSS, to the USB, and then providing them to the police. Often that's delayed because shift changeovers and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
stuff. So
And applying any sort of justice or freedom,
this,
privacy issues, do we apply any of that over it before we hand it over?
the police have access to our CCTV. They can request it through the GIPA Act. They've got many mechanisms to request the footage from us. This, in my belief, does not impact the privacy of our community. It's about enhancing the efficiency of my team. So by not having to retrieve this, and the efficiency of the police as well, by them to do it themselves. I believe I've put enough guide rails in place where the police have to get, as part of the code of conduct, have to submit a form and then have to have the supervising officer sign off on that form. So there is, and then that goes into our register. So we have, I believe, enough guide rails in place to protect the privacy of our community.
The councillor Wright was first.
I have a few questions about the details of this document. I think the intent is, through you, Mr. Mayor, I think the intent is good. The guardrails, as you say. On page 346, under point 4.1.3, request for access says police will take all necessary care in using the monitoring equipment and recording equipment and recorded material, and will be responsible for repairing damage caused by negligent use of that equipment. We do have a solicitor in the room, so you can tell me if this is redundant. I was thinking that we should say caused intentionally or by negligent use, because that would cover another eventuality, which we would hope would never happen, but
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, that clause is in there. We would have our own equipment in the police station through this. We'd have a TV and a computer that would be linked to the office where they would have access to a live monitor of our CCTV. That clause in there that if that was to be damaged, the police would then be liable.
so that it says by negligence, it doesn't include intentional damage.
Right, councillor Wright, you happy with that explanation?
Yes, but I guess
Head two.
if we're deferring this too much, I'll have a range of questions I can email to you.
I'll move over to councillor Nardi because you wanted a question.
Yeah, sorry, just going back, through Mr. Mayor to IT. So I'm assuming that the MOU is basically just to take up less of our resources and basically hand them into what they need to do because that's their job and it's not ours. And then the time frame that we would have, would there be numerous occasions where obviously someone's done, the police are here for a reason because they've done something bad, and they've come in to do this. How often would this happen? That we would have to stop doing what we're doing, give up the resources, your time, staff's time to actually do this? Is this like a regular occurrence?
Through Mr. Mayor, about once a week.
Right, so we're just saving time more than anything. And this MOU is basically to allow them to just do their job.
Through Mr. Mayor, yes, and it's also enhancing community safety. So we're giving them a monitoring station.
Yeah.
Giving them back more ready access to CCTV, giving them a monitoring station so they can have live CCTV footage of the town. This is as per Wagga, Albury, Griffith. We're no different to our neighbours.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, councillor Nardi. Now what we're doing, we're asking councillor Morris.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, may I just ask our IT manager, do you work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
Try not to.
So we don't have the resources to monitor this 24 hours 7. That's where I'm going. So enabling the police with their resources, they have that opportunity. They also can act on things far more swiftly than us on Monday morning of an incident that may have occurred or may not have occurred over a weekend or Friday night period. So I think they have the resources that we don't obviously have, and it's not our core business at the end of the day. This is not our core business. They are in the best opportunity.
Is that a question of?
Thank you. No, he's answered with.
Thank you. Any more questions of the manager? Councillor Kidd, just in front of you.
Several questions, so next time you allow me to speak and ask them all at once.
Yeah, we might.
Thank you.
Are we happy with that, councillors? Right,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah,
Councillor Kidd, no, go
I
ahead.
can just seek a little bit of clarification from the manager.
I just want to caution councillors, we are asking questions, and when those questions are finished, whether we address the amendment to your motion. Okay.
Well, I believe it's important, Mr. Mayor. Who initiated the request? Was that us or New South Wales Police?
Mr. Mayor, that was council.
Right.
It's been a partnership that we've been working towards for about 3 or 4 years to better solidify the relationship that we've got with the police now.
Right. Now, you said that this happens in Wagga and Albury and other commands. So is that technically a generic email that would go to every council?
What do you miss?
The email, sorry, from Justin Corms, is it the police inspector? Jason, sorry. Is that a generic email that would have gone to other councils?
That was
Leeton specific.
drafted to
Yeah, okay, and I did read your email earlier on today, but just to clarify, so even though the police can actually log into our system via the police station, they're set up at the police station, do we keep a record of the actual logins because it is still our property?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, we have 2 methods for recording. They will have a form to fill out that is part of council's infrastructure. They'll fill out that form, it's signed off by the supervising officer, and they will have their own log on to our CCTV software, which any of the recorded footage is logged that they've actually accessed it. So in the event that the council wishes to conduct an audit, we could conduct an audit on the times that they have access recorded footage. So we do have those safeguards in place.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you've answered one of my technical questions, so thank you for that. I'm on page 347, still under 4.3. The second point from the top of the page says that the police will not authorise or allow any of its officers to remove any data or photograph, any monitoring equipment or access recorded material without proper authorisation as outlined in the code and standard operating procedure. I did read the standard operating procedure, but I wasn't able to find out whether the system actually does allow those officers with their logins. Will they be able to make destructive access? Can they ever delete anything permanently?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no. That clause is in there to make sure that the police don't just get out the phones or the screen, not going through the process.
Right, okay. And then further down under ethics and conduct, it says the police will ensure all officers accessing or utilising recorded material do so strictly within the bounds of the agreed code, MOU and SOP. How will we keep records of the police making those undertakings? If the police are making the undertakings to their superiors, we won't know which police have, signed up to the guidelines and are therefore putting themselves, taking responsibility for their actions.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, we have another form for that. So each officer will then have to submit a form to say that they've read and acknowledged the code of conduct, and that will go onto the register of acknowledged officers that are acknowledged.
Before they get a login.
Correct.
Right, yep. And then we have on page 355, the fifth bullet point down, the police will be responsible for training local police in their responsibilities in relation to the CCTV program as set out in the Code of Practice and standard operating and the New South Wales Police Service standing operating procedures. How will we have proof that they have been trained, that each person getting a login has been trained?
They will be signing up to they're filling out the form and saying they've acknowledged the code of conduct and the MOU.
But it says that there is training to be had. So do we know what training that is? Is it a workshop or something like that?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that training is probably referring to how to use the software. So my idea would be to train the senior staff, and they would then train the junior staff. So councillors would then have to train every officer that turns up to the police.
Mr. Mayor, it says training local police in their responsibilities in relation to the CCTV program, code of practice, etc. So I think it's about training them in their ethical obligations.
And they've also got a code of conduct as per the police to govern it as well. I'm trying not to go into govern the whole code of ethics of the New South Wales Police.
I just think that if it says training, it's training. So we should know what they're doing and have a record of it.
Councillor,
Otherwise, it's a meaningless.
are you happy with that explanation or not?
If that's all the manager has to offer right now, I'll accept it and move on. Further on page 356, in the second paragraph, or the first full paragraph, it says cameras will not be used to look into an adjacent or nearby premises or building unless it is explicitly for the purpose of following in real time participants in crime, etc., etc. Any misuse is to be treated as a breach of this code and subject to disciplinary action by the respective partners to this code. What proof will we demand from the police if there is a breach and it's their responsibility to take disciplinary action against their employee? What proof will we demand of that to know, so that we know that this procedure has been followed?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's actually applying to me, not to police. I manage the CCTV, I install them. We try to manage under the Privacy and Surveillance and CCTV Act to not aim CCTV cameras into people's properties. We try and aim them into public spaces where there is a perceived, your privacy is perceived, you're giving it up. You know,
So they-
signage throughout legal signage throughout the CCTV areas. Yeah, that applies to me as a disciplinary action.
Is that because the police can't move the cameras?
They can't move.
So this would only, by default, would only apply to you. In that case, I'm satisfied that the general manager would take any disciplinary measures that were required if you were spying on people. I think I found a typo on page 362 at the top of the page. Applications or notifications from, I think it's meant to be form. So perhaps the manager of governance could take a note of that.
Thank you.
Those are all my questions. Thank you so much.
Any more questions of the manager before we move on to the shadow amendment? Right, Keeper moves the first.
I'm not happy to move it as it stands, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. I think we need to, perhaps under item 3, or possibly a point 4, that it can be, after that discussion, be brought to the next council meeting. You have
That's underneath the amendment? Yeah.
Point 4.
There's somewhere.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Either 3 or 4.
So you asked to be added. The seconder happy with that?
Just waiting for it to write it, sorry.
Just that really doesn't go anywhere, as it's.
yes, I'm supposed to say that as a.
Oh, I guess you don't want water.
Get that on thing.
Just don't know your own strength. That's all right. Just throwing glass on.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Anything after the meeting of police.
Thank you for picking that up, councillor Kidd. Was supposed to say
What that means is that there's a lot of work that's gone into it, but we can sit down and really ask a lot of questions. Yeah, we can come
Actually, discussion.
better.
I think we just need assurances.
Yeah,
They're in.
They agree.
CCTV is very helpful. People do get nervous about.
Councillor Nadia, are you happy with these?
I'm just, after reading that fourth one, so basically it's just going to come back to Jackie anyways, the general manager, and then she'll bring the report back. Just wanting to know, you'd be happy with whatever the report states after that next
I'd
one?
like to meet with New South Wales Police. I think it should be whole councillors.
That's what number 3 says.
Yep,
Have a
okay.
chat.
Right, councillor Kidd, are you happy with that?
Yes,
Councillor Edwards?
Yeah.
And councillor Nadia?
Yep.
Any more discussion or amendments?
So we're moving in.
Huh?
Discussion. Sorry. Point of clarification.
Oh, sorry, he'll just,
Yes, okay.
just put the motion as
Right then.
with the amendment.
So, but it can read up behind all that.
Awesome stuff.
We're still talking.
Think we're done.
We're done, right. All in favour of that?
Yeah.
Or against? Good. The amendment goes to motion, you go to the motion.
Oh, I thought we were voting on amendment. The seconder agreed to it, so it's not an amendment anymore
Oh, yeah.
because
it's now
the,
become the
So
motion.
sometimes the amendment will come to motion and the
yes,
motion.
because the mover and the seconder agreed with it, then
It's now becomes a new motion.
it's the original motion's been changed.
Good, all right. Now, we're going to move on to page 339. Oh, no, we've done that. We're going to move on to page 364, adoption of council's. Page 364.
You never start getting into foreshadow.
Policy.
And then it gets.
Can't we get there?
364.
What is it?
But the That, in front of you, adoption, the recommendation is the council adopts the draft council device policy as the guidance framework for the provision and management of devices supplied by councillors for official purpose. Do I have a move in a second? Move by councillor Knighty, second by councillor Edwards. Any discussion? Councillor Wright.
Mr. Mayor, I'm concerned about at the bottom of page 364, the last point, internet access costs will be covered by council with reimbursement required for personal use exceeding the data plan. It's difficult for me to agree to that policy when I don't know what the data plan is.
Much more clarification.
I would like some clarification about the data plan, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. And about what the risk is of me exceeding the data plan.
Very little.
To the manager.
Agree, Mr. Mayor, we have quite a substantial data. Very unlikely to be able to exceed that. That policy is there to cover if you were to take your device overseas and not notify us, that would, the roaming charges would be on you, not on council.
So I think that a reasonable personal use clause might be more appropriate. Because that would actually give council more. Because it would rely on the reasonableness of the use, and it would cover the rare instances of a device being misused, but it wouldn't be an unknowable figure.
So those words on 364, which is in the body of the report, is those words in the actual policy?
Yes,
Words.
that is the actual policy, I believe. Or no, is this
That was basic discussion.
that's the report?
Yeah, just have a quick look in the policy and see if it's in the policy word for word. So you're debating the word for word, aren't you?
Okay.
Stephanie will give you a bit more detail.
It does say 4.4. It's the same line.
Is that right? Good.
Yep.
So you have a comment with that? Or the explanation be good enough for you?
Yes, I guess so. I'll trust you. I trust you that I won't get a bill.
Thank you, man.
You go have a say.
Well, I'm not going to take this out.
No more first releases, my friend. Then we had a move in a second there.
Sorry. I had another question about this.
Go ahead.
So, Mayor, on page 370, it says 4.7, councillors must not use their personal email address, Facebook page, Twitter account, or any other form of social media for council business. Can I clarify what council business means in this context? Because
My reflection.
page 370. Well, if you're in the policy, it's 4.7.
Do you have for the manager, do we have an example? What question?
What was the?
The question, 4.7, councillors must not use their personal email address, Facebook page, Twitter account, or any other form of social media for council business. Do you mean council business as in the stuff that's strictly council business, like me emailing Jackie, me participating in a committee?
Correct, yeah. We would, through Mr. Mayor, we prefer councillors to use their authorised email channels to deal with council business rather than some email address.
Right.
From a cybersecurity perspective, that's why that line is in there.
I was just concerned, I wanted to clarify that it wasn't unintentionally imposing restrictions on how we communicate with residents and other stakeholders.
It's more around cybersecurity.
Right. Yeah. Thank you very much.
I have a question.
I'd like to make a question statement about this. Sometimes I receive council communications like email. So I'm just wondering if you, that's an observation, because that seems.
All email should be going to your official address, so yes, we'll need to make sure on our side that maybe it's not available in the system, because I suspect it comes up automatically by mistake. So we'll ask IT to help us make sure we clear the personal emails.
Maybe from your time before you were a councillor as well. If you had communications with
I
council.
think it just happens as a default when you.
Yeah, yeah.
But I have, in which case that would make me contravention for
Yes.
passively, not directly.
Well, if you've written an email and someone's replied and it's accidentally come from your address, it does happen, and I suppose all we can say is if everyone can be diligent about looking out for that, 'cause it does happen so easily.
Some council communications, or perhaps not strictly council communications, have to come through to our personal email address. And that's anything, Sarah, you've probably got a handle on that. With regard
disclosures and stuff.
Disclosures and things with the State Electoral Commission.
Mr. Mayor, normally personal email addresses are used when it's caretaker period. That's in election year. That's when the personal email addresses come in.
Yeah.
Council, official council email address is no longer valid.
What about declaration times? Usually around the half year and end of.
Those forms are through you, Mr. Mayor, are emailed through to your official email address to be provided back.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that.
It always might be myself when I'm dealing with, like, say, Australia Day, and I'm trying to talk to a member of the community. I've got to remember which one to use. Right, look, we've had a recommendation and a motion by Councillor Nardi and second by Councillor Edwards. We've had some discussion. All in favour? Those against? Thank you. Moving on to page operation matters, move on to page 372, capital works update report. I'll get to 372.
Move on, Mr.
There, can I have a move in a second, please? Second by Councillor Morris. The recommendation, any questions of that recommendation? The recommendation is, sorry, I won't read it out to you. That council notes for information, the quarterly capital works update report, major projects as of the 11th February 2025. Any comment, Councillor Edwards?
Just a question clarification, Mr. Mayor. Just around page 377, the Roxy Theatre redevelopment aspect of the report. Just want to get a clarification around the stage 2, and it says awaiting execution of funding agreement for stage 2. So are we still waiting for execution?
Unfortunately, still waiting. So what I've been informed, because this is federal money, but in the not so long ago, olden days, the government used to give contracts directly to council. Things have changed in federal where everything now goes through the state government. So our the agreement has to be funneled through the New South Wales state government. And I've contacted regional New South Wales on 2 or 3 occasions, and there's no clarity yet. It seems like they're still busy working out how the money will come across.
But the money definitely will come.
It's definitely a commitment.
Just because the committee already thinks that money's there. That's all.
We have a letter from the government confirming the 800,000. We just don't have the contract signed yet.
Right.
No. Through Mr. Mayor, it won't get caught up in any federal caretaker stuff.
Federal government.
It's already guaranteed.
That's already guaranteed.
Separate to that, because the announcements were made before the.
That's all.
Yeah.
That was a clarification question.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Any more comments or questions before I put question?
Good to see green.
It is.
Agree.
No, it's been great. Over the period of time, we've done quite well for all our different major works that we've been doing. So I'll put the motion, all in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to the minutes of the local area traffic committee, item 8.3.2 on page 378. Give you time to get there. The recommendation from council is that council notes the minutes information and endorses the recommendation of the local area traffic committee meeting held electronically on Tuesday, the 11th of February. Moving a second. Councillor Keating, Councillor. Right there, right, yeah. Any comment on any questions? No comment. Oh,
Oh, no.
question from Councillor Mason.
Yep, just in relation to the setup for the gala opening. I'm in the right bit, aren't I, on with the traffic report? I can't see any communication. I've noted that the community have been consulted. Have we had any feedback from, I guess, our business owners about any impacts there, or there's not been any concerns raised?
We've written it to.
Sorry.
Through Mr Mayor, I'm unaware of any concerns being raised. This is only for the Saturday night. It's not ongoing. It's just for one event.
Yeah, no, I was just noting the time of from the event setup of 12 p.m. that I didn't know. I know that most of the shops will be closing around that time, give or take, but
yes, are you thinking in terms of car parking specifically? Because
yeah, just the impact to the shopkeepers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't personally involved with this, and unfortunately our Director of Operations not feeling too good tonight. So I can find out and pass it on back to you as to what the feedback was. If that
Only if it was feedback that,
yeah.
you know, someone thought it's going to be an impact, I suppose. Yeah, they might not.
If there was impact, it should be reported in this report.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't note it, but I just thought maybe.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Knight, you have a question?
Yeah, just to help answer that for Councillor Maidham, the letters actually went out yesterday under businesses' doors.
Okay.
And yeah, I think you're correct. On a Saturday, I think you'll find that there's a portion of the businesses will be closed by 2:00. So as long as there's no other things, like there won't be any markets and stuff in the park and things like that, which they were, I think, last week, I feel like the implications will be quite low. It might just maybe slow down a bit of traffic to slow it, time of traffic of the day, but no one, speaking to a few other people in business, no one actually said that it was going to be an issue with them. So,
okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor. Pardon me. Councillor Kidd first.
Councillor Kidd.
Just for information, I know there'll be some setting up on Thursday and Friday, what they call bumping in and bumping out. On Saturday, that will commence from around about 7:30 in the morning, but I can't tell you too much about the Thursday, Friday stuff. So.
anything might block off the lane at the back.
Councillor Wright.
Oh, no, that's fine. Thank you.
Any more questions of regard to that motion on the table? No. I'll put it all in favour. Those against? Good. Yeah. Thank you. Moving on to economic and community development matters, item 8.4.1, housing strategy implementation, page 416. Give time to get there. And I'll just read out to you that the recommendation from council endorses the draft housing strategy implementation plan for the public exhibitions for 28 days, invites submission from the public government agency, service authorities and landowners with the identified growth areas, receive a further report at the conclusion of the exhibition period, summarising the feedback and recommendation, any necessary amendments to the HISIP before final adoption. Do I have a move in a second? Moved by Councillor Wright, Councillor Tynan. Councillor Wright, Councillor Tynan. Any question of that?
To make just a short statement.
Yeah.
Mayor, with your indulgence. For those of us that have been on council for a number of terms and have been pushing for this and putting input into the process, this is a really, really great moment. Our intent is to see structured development and the advancement of our town and our facilities, and that takes a lot of work. And whilst councillors bang on about it around the table, I'd also like to thank the General Manager for her support and the staff, particularly Francois within that area, who've managed to secure grant funding for this. We really do appreciate immensely the work that you put into what is a very thorough report. And thank you very, very much for that. You've made me very happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wright, you had it.
So I'd just like to echo the sentiments of Councillor Kidd and congratulate Francois on an amazing job. I'm very pleased to see that we actually have a plan that, you know, we can point to and communicating with our residents and saying this is where we're going to develop and this is how we're going to ensure that we have enough housing for the next, you know, few decades. The infrastructure savings benefits will be substantial. We'll be making our asset profile much more efficient over time, which helps with the dreaded depreciation and maintenance backlogs. All things we've discussed, even in the short part of this term, which I'm very pleased to see Leeton taking the lead as a town of this size, having this level of organisation around its approach. I think we should all be very proud of our staff and yeah, once again, Leeton is leading the way.
Yeah, Councillor Edwards.
I'd like to also make a short statement, Mr. Mayor. I'm very pleased that this is before the council. We had a very good discussion about this draft housing strategy plan. I'd like to thank all the staff and the general manager for all the hard work and effort put into this draft. And I'd like to just stress to the community that if you have any concerns or worries, please put your submissions in the next 28 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Any more comments?
Mr. Mayor, you might say Leeton on the go.
Leeton on the go, yes. I just want to endorse also fantastic work done by the staff organising that grant. And the other night we had a good, clear view of what we're going to do going forward. And I do believe we've got people who might be interested as well. So fantastic. And I also agree with Councillor Edwards. Please come forward and speak up about submissions, but very exciting time and very exciting times. So we've got to move in a second. Any more comments? No? I'll put the motion on favour. Aye. Well done. Good work. Right, moving on to 8.4.2. Quick response grant application for Leeton Basketball Association, Maverick Basketball Association and the Roxy Volunteers. I'll just excuse me. Sorry, page number 679.
Yes, Mr. Item, I need to declare I won't say significant, but non-pecuniary interest because I actually sit on the Leeton Roxy Volunteer Committee. Part of that agenda item.
Actually, I do too, so probably next to that.
While that's happening,
I'm going to thought about that.
are you staying or are you leaving?
Maybe do 1 and 2 first, then do 3.
Yeah.
Separately.
Councillors, are you all happy? We might deal with 1 and 2 first while Councillor Morris is here. And then who else is declaring?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, just a clarification. Do we have to move that we deal with those two first? Oh yeah, don't worry.
We can move 1 at a time, or councillors move 1 at a time, or 1 and 2 together.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I just want to know because Councillor Madam and I are both on that quick response grant group. So how would that fall into play for us?
How do you mean, Councillor?
Well, because I'd like to move it, but I also am in the same situation as Councillor Morris.
Well, how about councillor, we deal 1 at a time then?
I think Councillor Nardi still can do 1 and 2.
Yeah.
She's just removing herself from number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is anybody else going to move himself? Number 3? But we have a quorum. All right, we might debate number 1 and 2. I might read out the recommendations.
Yeah. We don't have a move for a second.
I'm just going to read out.
Clarification, Mr. Mayor, RRC, is that a contradiction as well or just Roxy Volunteers?
I'll get a clarification.
It's for each councillor to determine at the end of the day, but if they're a member of the Roxy Volunteers Dream Team, they might want to consider. If they're a member of the Roxy Redevelopment Committee, then it's a good point for them to determine whether they feel conflicted.
Question here, how many volunteers here are of the Dream Team?
On the volunteer, it was like all of us, yeah.
We've got four,
Dream team.
Dream team.
We'll still have a quorum.
yeah. There's four of us,
Yeah.
so we might have to declare, I might declare it. Also, if that's the case, what's the next senior councillor we've got? Leeton, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, Nadia.
No, no.
Oh, because he,
Oh, she's
yeah.
on the floor.
Yeah. it's-
So it would definitely be you.
You can fill it in.
Are we voting on that one now?
No,
Like,
go with
And the councillors, are you happy that?
Go and, she has to go and sit up there.
now?
Are you going to do it first? You're going to do?
Oh,
We're
they do-
gonna, one and two,
Can we do
sorry,
other stuff?
one and two first,
Yeah.
and I'll vacate the table.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if I could actually move if I could move.
One and
So
two.
you're happy for me not to read them
Yeah.
out? We're talking about number one and number two. We're talking about one and two. Right? Well, I need a move and a second for number one and number two. Moved by Kid,
Nardi.
second by councillor Nardi, right? We're debating point 1.2. All in favour? Against? Carried.
Sorry.
Right. Now, number three, I'll ask councillor Maiden to come up. And
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, just a clarification on this. I just want to make sure that we're actually meeting the code of meeting practice. I know I bang on about this, but do we need a vote for the chair? If the deputy mayor and the mayor cannot take the chair, don't we need to vote for the chair? I'm happy to support you.
yeah,
Oh, this is not a question of your capability.
I think that's
I want to make sure that we're actually,
for the next senior councillor.
I just actually want to make sure we're actually.
All right, off with it. The remaining councillors, Mr. Believe, are you happy to have, would you like to put your name forward to be considered?
Yes, I'm happy for councillor Nathan to take the chair.
All in favour?
Okay. Vote.
Okay, so do you want to just read it for ourselves?
You don't even need to just say we.
Alright, we need someone.
Yeah, okay.
Item three. Yeah.
All right, so we're just looking at item 3. Would somebody like to move that? Well, so we've got councillor Tynan, and seconded by councillor Wright. Anyone got any questions?
I do have a question. With quick response grants, would food and beverage come under quick response? I thought it was for something more important than beverages. That's just a query I have, like what's the actual scope of what we're looking for when we give out these grants?
If I can for you, councillor Maiden, the quick response grant can actually be used for anything that the community group puts forward for, and that we feel fit is a worthy cause. So there is nothing that's to state that anything is exempt from that.
And I'd say from my understanding from that particular item is they're all volunteers. They've probably been
You know,
there
that's-
for hours and got to feed them.
Councillor Tynan?
Councillor Madden through the GM. I'm just curious about how many volunteers there are. I'm just wondering what's the cost per head of 1,000? One question, I'm just curious about the cost.
Yeah, so through Mr. Mayor, I'm not, if the question is in relation to why is that number being nominated, we'll have to ask that. But I think in this particular context, it's got to do with there being 88 volunteers who've committed over $80,000 worth of work just in the last 3 months. And currently council's not supplying them with a beverage, tea and coffee and all the rest. They're bringing their own, and they're they're basically asking if they could have some money towards their tea and coffee costs while they're on duty as volunteers at Council's Roxy Theatre
So it's about $200 per head.
Per year though.
per year.
No, it's 88, 155.
I'm not questioning.
No, it is, no, to be less than that, they're
$17 per head.
yes, they're 88, yeah.
Across the year.
I know, and I'm not even good at maths. I thought-
Are there any other questions from councillors or any other comments there? If there's no more questions, then we had a mover and a seconder. All those in favour, you can raise your hand. Against?
So in favour.
In favour, yep, okay.
No, no.
Carried, yeah.
Thank you. And just for clarification, it's $17 per volunteer. Yeah. Thank you.
Do we?
And that children.
Right.
I'll tell you that.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Take royalty, only with the cover. That would be inflation.
Sorry, Crystal, about that. Quite sure.
He's just sleeping with his eyes open.
Didn't tell us.
I took a photo.
Oh. On page 7.
We're on page 709, everybody. 709 is re-establishment of alcohol-free zone in Leeton and Co. Everybody time to settle back into their chairs. The recommendations for you that council authorise the commencement of the community consultation in accordance with the Local Government Act 1993, the re-establishment of alcohol-free zones in Leeton and Yanco. Authorise the Grand General Manager to proceed with the implementation of the alcohol-free zone if no substantial feedback is received. Supports the renewal of the alcohol-free zone for a period of 4 years in accordance with the relevant through guidelines. That's the recommendation. Do I have a move in a second on that? Move Councillor Morris, second by Councillor Kidd. Any discussion? Councillor Right, I think.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I just have a question of clarification through you, perhaps to the Director of Economic Development or perhaps to the General Manager. This does seem like it's a standard renewal, but I wanted to ask, says alcohol-free, does the exception for example, Mountford Park, being able to bring your own alcohol and have a picnic with a bottle of wine or a few beers between 8 AM and 8 PM, is that still going to be allowed?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to refer that to the Manager of Planning and Building, author of the report. And yes, please proceed.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, so the alcohol-free zones that we talk about here is actually established under section 644. And this is only applicable to council roads, council car parks, and council footpaths. What's happening inside parks is regulated under section 632. So in the parks, you have to comply with the signage that's there. So if the signage prohibits something, a certain activity, or it put a time limit on something, that is applicable there. This one is just for street drinking, and this can only be enforced in the demarcated areas, and it's normally done by the police to prevent antisocial behaviour and stuff like that. Unfortunately, with alcohol-free zones, there is no quick renewal process. We have to go through the re-establishment process, which means we have to advertise it for 30 days, and we have to consult with the community, the local Aboriginal Land Council, the police, and business owners.
Thank you very much.
We also have a question, Councillor Edwards.
I thought you were next, and it's me.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Does the re-establishment mean that it hasn't been alcohol-free for a while and we've decided we better go back to it, or is it just, it's like a renewal? Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, it's like a renewal, so the current zones is valid until the 1st of April 2025. So there's actually a sign here next to the reservoir. So when a person walks up the road and they go past this reservoir, they enter into an alcohol-free zone. So it's this whole main street area. However, we can still have drinking in alcohol-free zones, like people that have al fresco dining. They go through a DA process, and that area is then exempted from the traditional alcohol-free zone. But it's basically applicable to just the roads and car parks.
Yeah, and it's to stop sort of public nuisance behaviour basically.
Has different good. Good.
The manager just actually answered my question, so it's all good.
All right, good. Any more questions of the manager? Councillor Aikman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Manager, I didn't notice, but obviously the signage, does it have, it used to have expiry dates?
Yeah.
So do we have to actually update the signage? So that, and that's at our expense?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So
Thank you.
we will go around once council renewed, re-establish the alcohol-free zones. We'll update the expiry date and add 4 years to it.
Good. Any more questions of the manager? All right, I'd like to put the recommendation, which is the motion. All in favour? Those against? Thank you very much. The next one is the youth council minutes. That's the council one. That's the look, there was a suggestion, councillors, if you're happy, is all those reports, put them all together, put them through. Unless someone wants to talk about a particular report.
Could you list, Mr. Mayor, could you list the reports we're gonna?
Yeah, list the reports. Got the youth council minutes. We got postal event Chill and Grill. Minutes of Light Up Leeton. Post event for Light Up Leeton. Minutes for the Sunrise committee. They're all the reports from all those particular organisations. For expediency.
So just go through, everyone has any questions to ask.
Yeah, I just want to see if everybody's happy with doing that, or over doing that. I need a move and a second for all of them, and then we can ask the by Councillor Kidd, second by Councillor Edwards. Understand what we're doing. We're going through all the recommendations. If there's any questions out of them? This one, Councillor Nardi.
Yeah, sorry, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just on the first item of the youth council, just to be noted to make a change, if you know, manager of governance, the February meeting was not held, so that 26th February date needs to be out, and there will be a further date, which
That was last year.
It's last year, 2024.
Yeah.
oh, sorry, my apologies. I thought it was for this year.
Yeah.
All good. Thank you.
Getting too old.
Well, we actually did have one. We had a meeting on Monday and it got cancelled.
Oh, okay.
In February. So.
Any more comments on all those, Councillor Morris?
I just wanted to make a comment because all of them are worthwhile organisations and it shows a lot of good work in our town. It's wonderful to see the youth council and how interactive they were and those displays they put on those nights. Were wonderful here where they same displays of presentations. Thank you, Councillor Kidd. Was very mature, I thought, and for their ages, and they presented very well. So congratulate the Chill and Grill and Light Up Leeton group, and because they all do wonderful work in our community and are driven by not only council staff but a lot of volunteers in our community. So just I guess congratulations, they've all been very successful events.
Great.
Any other comments, Councillor Edwards?
So I'd like to make a comment, Mr. Mayor. I would like to also congratulate all the committees and the youth council, but in particular the committee that I form part of, which is the Light Up Leeton committee. I would like to give my heartfelt thanks to that committee and to also give thanks for the businesses and individuals who supported the event for another successful Light Up Leeton for 2024. Light Up Leeton is one of the most cherished events of the Leeton Shire calendar. And although it was a hot day, families turned up in their hundreds and thousands to support the schools and community groups who performed or put on a wonderful feed. We were even lucky to get a visit from Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. I hope that they will visit again this year, as I would like to complain that I did not get what I wanted on my wish list. And again, I know the committee worked very hard and deserved a well-earned break. And it's the same with the Chill and Grill and all the other wonderful events that we also had. I really enjoyed myself at Chill and Grill. Might not actually put too much emphasis. But I would like to encourage community members to put their hands up to join committees. It's such an important part of our town. It helps deliver amazing events, sporting and other important things that community relies on and expects for us to have. So yes, I just want to say thank you again to all those committee members and all those council staff who work so tirelessly to give us what we enjoy the most. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any more comments? No. I'd just like to add, Councillor Nigel.
Oh, you're right, sorry. I just want to also just mention well done to Michelle and her team, because I reckon the media stats this year like increased significantly for Chill and Grill, and I think that is because of our local Nick the Happy Harvester. So I think that this year's feedback in comparison to previous years was really interesting. I think that we can only grow from that. So yeah, just the same sentiments as everybody else. Congratulations, we have a great team and some great volunteers to support these events.
Thank you, Councillor Nigel. Thank you. Good. I'd just like to endorse as well, like it's the very essence of community life. Mixing together, going out, doing things, memories being built, young ones growing up, being part of the community. You know, volunteers, need volunteers. Sometimes I'm worried the day the volunteer might be disappearing and we have to pay people to do this. But at the moment, we've got good volunteers coming forward, and all those events, fantastic, really great. You go out there by yourself and you'll be gone 3 or 4 hours talking to different people. Really enjoy it. So thank you very much, everybody. Good. Right, I had a move in a second, didn't we? All those in favour? All right, votes again? Good, thank you very much. Good. All right, now we're going to do the activities. I can close it. Just need a bit of guidance here.
Yeah, that's I suppose your prerogative and the council's prerogative if you want to do that as you usually do.
Yes. We might just do the council activities, all right, before we go to close council. Do we suspend things for this one? We do not. We don't. All right. I might just go around the table, starting for Councillor Morris.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Probably just the Roxy tour with Susan Lee. She was very impressed with what she had seen, and obviously came to see for the money that the federal government had invested in the Roxy to date, and was very impressed with what she saw. And she's come and visited a number of times and seen it through the many stages. So it was very fulfilling, and I'd like to think in a different some way then helped influence this additional, seeing the worth of Roxy too, and the good work that's been achieved against some challenges along the way. My other meeting was with Helen Dalton with the state of the Murray-Darling Basin, and she gave some insight to her advocacy work in understanding the Murray-Darling Basin plan, and to all of us have an obligation to try and educate every person that we can so that they understand the full implications. And I just been very topical again on today's news, so where it could go, who knows? And yes, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kidd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've given another extensive list to Sarah earlier. An awful lot of things on over the last 6 weeks or so. But walking around Australia Day, the really important time in our community where we celebrate what we are. It's where we embrace and encourage people to new citizens into our community. And it's it's a really lovely time. Councillor Weston and Councillor Nardi absolutely busted their kapuka valves around Australia Day. So I just went along for the ride, but thank you to you two councillors for your hard work and our staff as well. They did a great job. I'll concur with Councillor Morris, also sat in on the water meeting with MP Helen Dalton. That little video is well worth a watch if you get a chance, and I would suggest that everyone in the Shire look at that. We could perhaps think about putting that even on our council webpage. But anyway, that's a discussion for perhaps another day. But it's certainly something we really need. People need to have a handle on in our Shire. And while some do, not everybody does. The other important thing was, of course, the Roxy funding announcement. I did two with Mrs. Dalton. Also did one with Senator O'Neill when she was doing the funding. Council, I promoted you to Senator, Councillor Tynan. Councillor Tynan was also there. I'm just trying to remember who else was. The mayor was, of course. Look, it's really great to see something coming together, and I've been banging on to people in Canberra for a long time on this, and I think they've finally worked out that I'm not mad, and that we do have this achievable vision with the Roxy, and that we have done a good job, and we are good custodians of grant money and the trust of governments both state and federal. The others, I might leave those for you. Mr. Mayor, we're talking about. We did have some meetings about Kajilbury Weir. That seems to be going very well.
Yeah, that's not.
Anyway, that will do me for now. That's good enough. Thank you.
Councillor Tiffin.
Thank you. It's a hard act to follow, Councillor. So I've been involved in the Roxy Redevelopment Committee meetings and considering the EOI in the last few weeks. But I've also had a couple of more not informal, but I've had some interesting interactions. Not meeting with Helen Dalton, although I have spoken to her myself previously, but liaising with a filmmaker called Bill Code, who has made a film about water and the river and is very interested in helping us drive some kind of campaign around water issues. And he's interested in meeting with the general manager and the mayor, and obviously maybe working with Helen. So progressing that, and also had a very interesting experience where I was at the hospital and there was no doctor, and so I was there for hours. So I wrote an email to the minister and he wrote back and was very responsive, which I thought was good. And I spoke to Dean Marchoni, who's an area manager for MLHD. And
on behalf of council?
Well, I've
just wanted to do council activity.
Yeah. I mean, I did say I was a councillor and I was asking him how we could work with him. And he offered to have a meeting with you guys. Yeah. So.
Councillor Wright?
I attended the Whitton Courthouse and Historical Museum Committee a couple of weeks ago, and it was very interesting because we had some committee members who have deep historical knowledge of the history of the place, and it was very timely because the next day we had the Capital Works seminar here, councillors, and it certainly brought into focus for me that we will be faced with decisions about prioritising spending, and that there are so many worthy projects in the community, and we can't necessarily fund them all and save them all. So it's a little bit sad. I don't know what's going to have to be, but we don't know what's going to go. We don't know what we're going to fund or not yet, but certainly doesn't add up, all told. But we have great community members who are so dedicated and passionate about the history of their towns and villages. So I really hope we can find solutions that will carry on the essence of the history of the places that we live and without breaking the budget.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Councillor Edward?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The issue with the council activity reports is that it's a very defined scope of what we can actually put on it. And most of the, if not all the committees that I'm on, that I'm a part of as a councillor, as a representative, we're all on recess or on holidays. So the only thing that I can report is that I did attend a visit with Honourable Susan Lane on the 18th of December. But other than that, all the committees I'm on have actually been in recess. And there have been other things that I could add if it was only that I could actually add it to begin with. So, for instance, visiting with constituents on Cantrill Road and listening to their concerns and other similar visits.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. I know it's a hard session here, you know. We actually sneaked this in. We're not supposed to do all this, but we're going to do it, you know, just if your council business, good to share it. Councillor Maiden?
I'm much like Councillor Edwards in the last, over the January period, obviously with the exception of attending the 2 face-to-face training workshops we had here at council the last 2 Tuesdays with the capital works and the housing strategy implementation one. They're the only 2 for me to report this month.
Thank you, Councillor Tom.
I attended the Roxy EIO meeting, and I do recall attending the Roxy Theatre itself for something. I just
wasn't the unveiling of the bus, was it?
Might have been the bus, but there was.
I'm not sure whether that fitted into the dates.
I just had a mix up in memory. Mr. Mayor and the GM, may I, note council activities with our discussions before? Would that be?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yes, okay.
So I've spent a lot of time over the holidays quizzing the Office of Local Government with trying to figure out a method to drastically diminish the backlog that's in the long-term financial plan to deal with that. We had quite a wonderful meeting tonight. It looks like it will be a very, very successful strategy. I'll fill you more out about that later.
Okay, Councillor.
Councillor Nardi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've always apologised to Melissa because I can never always get my notices in time. But yes, with yourself and Councillor Kidd, we attended quite a few Australia Day meetings. And was also available on Australia Day, and with the help of obviously yourself and Councillor Kidd and all the staff at the swimming pool. We had a great day at the pool. Unfortunately, our ambassador Robina Beard was unable to make it down to the pool. She was an amazing lady. But I feel that she was a little bit tired, and down at the pool I couldn't imagine her having a pie or a Leamington eating competition. But the kids down there did enjoy it. We got some really good feedback. And then obviously I attended via Zoom the Roxy Redevelopment Committee meeting also for the EOIs, both the briefing sessions within council for face-to-face training, and just a form of information. We did have a council meeting, but it actually was cancelled yesterday. That was my notes that I got confused with earlier.
The Youth Council.
For the Youth Council, yeah. Just we didn't have enough numbers from one of the schools, so we will be re-intervening in March to carry on the Youth Council group forward. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. Thank you, Mr.
Good, thank you, Nardi. My activist with what's in front of you there. I just want to touch on a few things very quickly because we've got important work to go talk about. Australia Day, I must congratulate Councillor Nadi. She's a new energy involved in Australia Day, getting lots of new ideas, and we're thinking, oh, we better hang on to your coattails and where we went. So that was fantastic. Great stuff. Great.
They're under a few of your bellies.
Yes. Administering the lamington eating contest. And also we've got, that was a great day, and thank you staff, fantastic helping out.
Yeah,
Great staff, wouldn't happen without the staff. Citizen, I really enjoyed the citizenship, 17 new people, had problems pronouncing their names, but they came along, which is fantastic. Ramjo, Rowena and Murray Joint Organisation, very important organisation to be part of, to talk about the bigger area. So that was a great feedback. And I'm really pleased about the housing strategy coming forward, great. And we had a little quick chat about the Kaguri Weir, what we're going to do there going forward. More information come forward on that. But overall, great to be a part of the community, getting around, talking to people, enjoying everybody's stories about how our little town is going quite well. So thank you very much, everybody. I will now move on to the right words for everybody. All right, the confidential matters. Due to the nature of the matters before both council and in accordance with section 10 and 10A of the Local Government Act, and it is proposed the council formally close the meeting to press and public the grounds detailed under the report heading as detailed below.